looking at right here with the engine bay. Your typical standard Ranger engine bay minus engine, right? You got all these wiring harnesses pulled back when I pulled the engine. Peeled the plastic off the transmission because I'm getting ready to mask the transmission off before I spray. I'm gonna mask off the ECU over here, right? I'm gonna mask off a lot of these connectors and stuff that are left exposed. I'm not gonna spray with those exposed. I'm gonna take the battery out. I'm gonna mask off the fuse box somehow. And I'm gonna mask all these fittings off, like the AC that don't, or the ones that don't have fittings on it, like the AC and the trans cooler, and you know, just all those hoses and stuff that are left open because I don't want to get water in those systems. You know, fuel line down there. Also, you know, I was kind of look at this steering wheel, steering shaft boot. I just noticed like how much it's not working at all. It's broken to like 3 different pieces. I'm gonna see about getting another boot or fixing this one the best that I can, at least to keep the dirt and the debris out of there. Maybe even try to clean that up a little bit, put some more grease in there. But I'm really working on it. See this caked up grease down in there? This bottom part, that's where my focus area with the pressure washer is gonna be after I mask everything off with plastic. I'm definitely gonna mask that torque converter off. But I am going to spray off the top of the transmission. I'm not going to spray the top of the transmission like too much because later on I'm going to end up taking this out and overhauling this transmission as well. I'm going to put new gears in it, new clutches. But yeah, we'll make sure that we mask that off. But like all this dirt and grime, I'm going to try to stay away from these right here. I'm just going to get the outer portion of it, but not really too much in here. I mean, it's not a big deal, it's just I don't want to dry out. I just changed these out, this control arm, you know, just recently before I decided to pull the engine. I changed out the control arms. You can see new shocks. Put a new catalytic converter in it, which I got to sit in the garage right now. And I'm going to try to stay away from the firewall blanket, even though it's kind of messed up. I'm going to see what I can do about this, about getting all that stuff hanging to where it's not hanging. But this is what I'm going to be working on. You see that? You see how that looks like my dog chewed that up or something? That's just from the heat of the engine over time, just heating it up and then getting it dry, and it just pretty much the fan blowing the remains away. And I didn't do that. That's just what happened over time. It just started, the loom just started coming off. And I've really been wanting to address that because I haven't seen any major issues with the wiring harness yet, as far as sensors not being able to be read and getting errors where I thought that I shouldn't be. I already got some regular electrical tape here, and I got some other stuff. I got other rolls too, and I'm just gonna be going over that and tightly wrapping it as best I can. So this is the Ford Ranger Flex Fuel Edge 3.0 liter V6. You guys already saw it, or if you guys have been watching the video, the videos up until this point, you know that this is the truck. I just got stuff in there because when I drove it over here, I put all the stuff that I was using to work on it in the back, so I didn't leave any trash where it was sitting. But I really like the flare side thing with the Fords and some of the Chevys. That's kind of like my thing. And like I said, this truck kind of just fell into my lap. I saw an opportunity where the situation just worked out to get it off the person that had it. It worked out mutually for both of us for me to go ahead and buy it from them. Got the hood sitting over here, and you can see how this engine was heating up. If you guys can see, the heat has taken the paint, just flicked it off completely, and then down there. That's some signs of extreme heat coming from the engine compartment for sure. And that's what had me kind of like, okay, well, there's too much heat in this engine compartment. I got to figure out why. And other than us being in a really hot state, there's other trucks that don't do that. So I had to figure, well, it's probably something inside the engine. So crankcase was heating up too much, the engine was heating up too much. I got a new water pump. I'm gonna be looking at the radiator, see if I need a new radiator. But we're definitely gonna also pressure wash this outside part. Don't mind my hair. My hair is crazy right now. For a 2003 though, she's pretty clean. Don't mind the mess too. This is gonna be somewhat dirty with stuff while I'm working on it and troubleshooting different things. But I mean, like, overall for a 2003, she's in pretty good shape. It's just, you know, she just needs some tender love and care with the engine and some of its components. A lot of times when engine goes bad, people just want to say, well, it's no good anymore and go get another one. But you know, this is I think this was a good shape. Fiberglass body. See, I know it's fiberglass because you can see right here, that's fiberglass right there. This one's metal. There's fiberglass on the side. I think I wasn't really planning on doing anything to the paint, to be honest with you. You know, I like to keep stuff the same, but like I might look at remedying the window sills, because I just kind of peeled off what looked like plastic dip. I don't know, I don't really use plastic dip, but that's what it seems like to me from people that I've seen use plastic dip. So it just comes off right there. I'm gonna change out this keyhole here. I guess over in some other town where this thing was at, somebody tried to break into it. I guess it was unsuccessful, but they tried to pull this thing out so they could get in there. So I'm gonna figure out a way to fix that. Yeah, other than that, we're gonna get this thing washed up and the engine bay prepped so we can get that engine that is awaiting on my engine stand right now. Waiting for this guy you saw in the last video. We're gonna get some of those accessories put back on, and I'm gonna work on that engine bay. right, ladies and gentlemen, we got us an engine. You saw a little bit of it last video with the valve covers. And you saw the oil pan gasket we put on all the way up until the lower intake pretty much. I put on some more attachments, temperature sensor, the oil cap, coil pack with the spark plug wires, the new spark plug wires that I got. We put on the brand new injectors with a brand new fuel rail. I'm joking, that's not a brand new fuel rail, but I tell you what, it does look brand new. Just a little bit of elbow grease, get all that gunk out of there. Just making it, shining it up a little bit, that's all. So we put the coil pack back on. I verified with the book, make sure that the coils are hooked up to the right spark plugs. Oh yeah, by the way, we put the spark plugs in. Dielectric, put some dielectric grease on them so they're not gonna seize up inside the block. Got the cam synchronizer here hooked up to the oil pump, so make sure we got some oil pressure when we do our startup procedure, which we'll go through that when we get to it. All right, got some more fittings over here. Also got the engine mounts in. This one just happens to have the bushing on it, just because that's how I took it out when I took it out. But the other bushing's inside. I'm gonna stab it in there just like I took it out. This one doesn't have the bushing on there, but I do got the engine mount there. I'm gonna wait on the drive assemblies. I mean because I'm gonna do that in a lot of that stuff inside the vehicle. I'm not gonna do it out here just because it's a lot easier to finagle the engine without the drive assembly on there, and I can easily put the drive assembly on inside the vehicle. To be honest with you, this coil pack and running the wires is a little bit more of a pain for me than putting on that drive assembly inside the vehicle, because I'm not gonna have the radiator in first. That's probably one of the last things that's gonna go in is the radiator. So I have a little bit of extra room, you know, that extra little oomph right here, and the fan shroud, it's not gonna be in there, so I'll be able to put up them drive assemblies, like drive accessories, pretty quickly. Okay, so the flex plate is gonna be super easy to put on once I have enough bolts, apparently. So I got the flex plate here, got the bolts in the other the shim that goes on the flex plate, and I have 5 flex plate bolts, but I need 6. So in my bolt degreasing assembly area down here, and so at some point I guess it came up missing, but it's no big deal because I can get those for like $8, I think, $9. Checked it out already. But I cleaned this area up. I know it doesn't really look it too much, but you can see all the boxes over there. I'm getting the hoses and the air filter and all, or the air hose and coolant hoses and stuff fixed. But I cleaned this area up looking for the flex plate bolts. Can't find them. I will go today and get those. But as you can see, like I had already assembled the major components of the engine, but putting all the little tidbits. Remember I was saying about the 10%, all these little tidbits. This you saw in the video already. The process, it's really fuel rail and fuel injectors. That's the easy stuff. As long as you just remember the easy stuff, the simple things, like, you know, make sure you grease up the O-ring, you know, or get it, you know, some people put, I don't know, I've heard some people say they put alcohol because it dries up once you put it in there, or something to that effect. It's mainly just so you have something lubricating the O-ring and the injector, so when you put it in there, you're not crimping the O-ring or slicing it or marring it up to where it won't seal properly. So you want to lightly grease that up before you put those in. You put the fuel injectors in the fuel rail, and then you kind of do a rocking pattern, just kind of gently seat them in there, and then you're going to put your mount bolts in there. That's what I was screwing in there. 2 mount bolts there, and then 2 mount bolts over here. Right. I'm going to hook up the PCV valve. That's easy enough to put inside. I'm not gonna just, you know, for extra clearance, because that thing just pops up, you know, like a sore thumb. I gotta hook some other stuff up to the PCV valve that's inside the truck now anyway. So while I'm doing that, I'll just pop the PCV valve in and then hook those hoses up to that coolant hoses. Same deal with the upper intake. I got it right over here with the throttle body disassembled. I'm gonna hit it up with some, you know, carb cleaner, something like that, with throttle body and the upper intake, and then I'm gonna put that on once it gets inside the truck. Takes me like 15 minutes to do that. I didn't show me actually pressure washing the outside of the truck. I did a time lapse of the inside of the engine bay just to see the grease and stuff I was taking out of the engine bay. I just got the hood just sitting on there. I'm gonna pop it off whenever we get ready to throw this engine in here. But I didn't think you guys wanted to sit there and watch me just pressure wash the outside. I'm gonna do it better once I get everything in there. Later on, what we got coming up, we're gonna be looking at the transmission and the rear end as well. We may not have to do anything to the rear end, but I definitely need to take a look at that transmission. I need to pop it out, maybe even do an overhaul. I need to put new clutches in it, new, check valves and stuff like that. It comes in the kit. It's like 200 bucks or something like that, but it's better than buying an old transmission for like $450. I think is what a junkyard is going to charge. I'd rather just get new clutches, about 200 bucks, do it myself, just pop the transmission out, bring it in here, and do kind of like we did here. But I don't want to be working on transmission and engine at the same time in my limited space here in the garage. You know what I mean? Just trying to be smart about it. Should be back on the road as soon as I get the transmission addressed and I get the engine finished up and buttoned up back in here. We're gonna go get her inspected and everything like that. I'll show you the process, the startup process, the break-in. I'll explain the break-in. Once we get to the transmission, I'll show you the disassembly. Easier, obviously, than engine. Easier than you think it is. Just a couple things you gotta, transmissions are delicate, so you gotta make sure you don't crack the bell housing and, dump transmission fluid all over your face. I've done it before. So just little things like that just to keep in mind, being safe and not breaking stuff. I'm considering LS swapping it and everything. It really depends on how well this one goes, because a lot of times when you fix something, it turns out that when you fix one thing, it breaks something else. That's happened to me before, where I'll fix I'll change out the head gasket, right, and then the pressure comes back because before it had a leak and everything. And then you fix that, and then next thing you know, you get like your radiator goes bad, or you realize your radio goes bad after you do a head gasket. But that's gonna be pretty much a wrap for today's video. If you like what you saw, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to share and subscribe. Maybe somebody might learn something, maybe not. Maybe they might be entertained. But either way, I hope this so far up until this point, and then me putting it into the truck, may be able to help you guys out with maybe your next build, maybe with your next project. Maybe you just don't want to undertake an engine swap, or rebuild an engine because you don't think you have the tools to do it. But I'm here to tell you, get your Haynes manual, Chilton manual. I like Chilton too. I don't know, heck, I learned a lot of stuff from YouTube. Check those guys out. Don't just go off of one person. Watch a couple people, listen to a couple people, and do the thing that makes the most sense. As long as you got some common sense about it and you're being safe, I think it'd be just fine. Safe, like don't hurt yourself and don't hurt what you're working on, because you don't want to break what you're trying to fix, right? I think that goes without saying, but I've broken a few things. A few things mean a lot of things while I'm trying to fix it. So that's how you learn. And hopefully you don't learn the hard way like I have sometimes. But if you have any questions about today's video, like I said, just leave me a comment, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.